Alexander the Great marched farther east than any king before him, driven by an unrelenting desire to conquer every mystery hidden beneath the heavens. His undefeated Macedonian army crossed endless deserts, towering mountains, and forgotten valleys where ancient civilizations had vanished without a trace. Rumors spread among captured priests and wandering mystics about a lost kingdom that had escaped history itself. They spoke of Atlantis, not beneath the Western Ocean as legends claimed, but hidden within an enormous inland sea concealed by enchanted mountains. Alexander dismissed no legend without first testing its truth upon the battlefield. The expedition continued until violent storms darkened the sky for 7 consecutive days. Thunder echoed across the cliffs as unnatural lightning illuminated colossal stone pillars carved with symbols older than Egypt itself. When the storm finally subsided, an immense circular lake appeared where no map claimed water existed. At its center stood an island unlike anything the Macedonians had ever witnessed. Towering crystal spires reflected brilliant blue light into the heavens, while enormous waterfalls flowed upward instead of downward. Golden bridges connected massive temples built from white marble that shimmered with magical energy. The entire island seemed untouched by time. Alexander immediately ordered his engineers to construct floating bridges across the mysterious waters. As thousands of soldiers advanced toward the island, the lake suddenly erupted with impossible violence. Gigantic serpents burst from beneath the surface, each larger than a warship and covered in shimmering sapphire scales. Massive jaws snapped through entire sections of the floating bridges. Archers unleashed endless volleys of arrows, while engineers launched flaming ballista bolts into the monstrous creatures. The lake turned crimson as burning beasts crashed back beneath the waves. The surviving monsters circled endlessly beneath the army, forcing every soldier to advance with unwavering discipline. After hours of relentless combat, the Macedonian phalanx finally reached the shores of the hidden kingdom. Magnificent gardens filled with glowing flowers surrounded towering palaces crafted from crystal and polished gold. Ancient statues of forgotten gods watched silently from every avenue. An invisible force shimmered across the entrance to the city like a wall of liquid glass. The barrier suddenly fractured into countless glowing fragments as Alexander stepped forward carrying the legendary Spear of Macedon. The gates opened without resistance, as though destiny itself welcomed the conqueror. Waiting beyond the entrance stood the armies of Atlantis. Thousands of elite warriors wore brilliant armor, forged from enchanted silver and luminous blue crystal. Their shields radiated magical energy, while their spears glowed with ancient runes. Towering battle elephants, armored in coral, marched beside gigantic armored sea turtles that somehow walked effortlessly upon land. Winged guardians circled overhead with radiant wings resembling living waterfalls. The battlefield became a collision between history and myth. Alexander personally led the companion cavalry into the advancing Atlantean formations. The impact shattered shields, shattered crystal weapons, and shook the earth beneath countless charging soldiers. The disciplined Macedonian phalanx pushed relentlessly against magical defenders, whose enchanted armor resisted ordinary steel. Atlantean priests raised glowing staffs that summoned walls of rushing water directly across the battlefield. Entire companies disappeared beneath crushing tidal waves before reforming their battle lines with extraordinary discipline. Alexander recognized that fear would destroy his army faster than any monster. He ordered continuous advances that denied the defenders enough time to unleash greater spells. The Macedonian siege engines rolled forward across the battlefield despite relentless magical attacks. Massive stone projectiles demolished crystal towers that had stood untouched for thousands of years. The skies suddenly darkened once again. Immense winged sea dragons descended from swirling storm clouds. Their scales reflected emerald and sapphire light, while torrents of freezing water erupted from their enormous jaws. Companion cavalry scattered as entire formations disappeared beneath crushing blasts of enchanted ice. Alexander mounted his black stallion and charged directly toward the largest dragon. Ballista crews concentrated their fire, while elite archers targeted the creature's glowing eyes. Dozens of heavy bolts pierced its wings. The enormous beast crashed into a palace, bringing entire towers down in an avalanche of crystal. Its death unleashed a magical shockwave that shattered windows throughout the hidden kingdom. Victory remained far beyond reach. The ground itself began opening beneath both armies. Gigantic stone guardians emerged from beneath ancient temples. Each colossal construct stood taller than fortress walls and carried massive tridents carved from glowing obsidian. Their eyes blazed with celestial fire. Every footstep shattered streets into enormous craters. The Macedonian army suddenly faced enemies larger than anything ever imagined. Alexander ordered every available siege engine to concentrate on the advancing guardians. Hundreds of ballista bolts struck glowing joints hidden beneath layers of enchanted stone. Engineers ignited barrels filled with burning oil beneath the giants. Tower after tower collapsed as wounded guardians crashed across the battlefield. Even in destruction, they crushed hundreds of soldiers beneath impossible weight. Smoke covered the city as fire spread across magnificent temples and royal palaces. The surviving Atlantean warriors retreated toward the heart of their kingdom. Alexander pursued them into an enormous circular sanctuary surrounded by oceans of glowing water. At its center stood the immortal king of Atlantis. His armor appeared forged from liquid starlight. His golden crown floated above his head, surrounded by rotating rings of magical energy. His ancient sword radiated enough power to illuminate the entire sanctuary. Behind him rose an immense crystal throne connected to the very foundations of Atlantis. The immortal ruler commanded the ancient magic sustaining the hidden kingdom. The sanctuary trembled as impossible energy surged through every crystal beneath the city. Entire buildings began rising into the air. Water spiraled upward into gigantic floating rivers that surrounded the battlefield. Countless glowing spirits emerged from the rivers to defend their eternal king. Alexander gathered every surviving companion cavalryman and every veteran phalangite for one final assault. Thousands of exhausted warriors formed the greatest battle line of their lives. The final advance shook the sanctuary with unstoppable determination. Atlantean champions collided with Macedonian veterans beneath swirling rivers suspended in midair. Sea monsters burst from floating torrents to devour entire formations before collapsing into rain. Crystal bridges exploded beneath relentless combat. Burning towers crashed into magical whirlpools. Lightning struck shattered temples as heaven itself seemed to witness the impossible war. Alexander carved a path through immortal guardians with unmatched precision and relentless courage. His armor bore countless scars, while his shield splintered beneath magical blows. Still, he advanced toward the immortal king. The final duel became the center of an apocalyptic battlefield. Steel clashed against enchanted starlight. Every strike unleashed waves of energy that shattered nearby columns. The sanctuary cracked apart as ancient magic spiraled beyond control. Alexander finally drove his spear through the glowing crystal embedded within the king's armor. The immortal ruler collapsed as the magical heart of Atlantis fractured forever, Blinding light consumed the sanctuary. The floating rivers collapsed into roaring waterfalls. Crystal towers shattered into millions of sparkling fragments. The enormous island began sinking beneath the enchanted lake. Alexander ordered an immediate withdrawal before the kingdom vanished forever. The surviving Macedonians escaped across collapsing bridges, while the waters swallowed every remaining temple. Within moments, the legendary city disappeared beneath silent waves. Only scattered crystals remained floating upon the surface like forgotten stars. Alexander stood upon the distant cliffs, watching the lake become calm once more. History would remember his victories across Persia and India. Only the winds, the mountains, and the hidden depths would remember the day Alexander the Great conquered Atlantis. The greatest secret ever discovered vanished once again beneath the waters, leaving only legends for future generations to chase.